We have some board size changes for 10th edition, and it is doing me a concern. I may not be my usual bouncy self and be taking more of a
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
kind of approach. Alright, let's get into it. 2 quick things have been confirmed. There are only going to be 4 objectives on the table each game, regardless of the size. And there are still 5 battle rounds in 10th edition. Good to know. I hope you can keep units on the table that long. I find it's usually over with a clear winner around turn 3. Board sizes. Okay. Even the smallest game of 1,000 points is going to be on a 44 inches by 60 inches board. Basically 6 foot by 4 foot. I do hope you have room for that and weren't having several 6x4 boards split in half for beginners to learn small games of 40k, like we do at my club, and at home I play games of usually around 1,000 points in a 4x4 area. I don't think I can fit 6x4. Even my local Games Workshop uses lots of 4x4 boards. They're going to have some difficulty, and I don't think this change was necessary. Side note, the reason it's 44 inches by 60 inches and not 48 inches by 72 inches is because Games Workshop has printed boards and mats, and the printer company that they used were going to charge extra to make it specifically 6x4. So Games Workshop changed their rules and said it was a favour to us because we never used the whole board anyway and put models and rulebooks in the corner. While this is true, it also meant that they could make plastic boards that didn't cost them as much, literally saving themselves a few inches each time to add up to better profits. Carrying on, there is only 1 battle in the core rules. Okay, that's fine as a get you by. When 8th edition did a whole rules revamp, they had rules that were free online, and that also came with only 1 mission. But this 10th edition mission uses cards to randomly generate more parts of it. Will the main rulebook come with a set of cards? Possibly not. Is this an add-on that you have to buy just to play the game? Maybe. It would be an annoyingly sneaky thing of Games Workshop to do and would not go down too well if you were starting the new edition, had your models, had an opponent, and found that neither of you had brought the set of cards you needed to play the game, even though you have the main rulebook. Hopefully the number of missions will expand, but it is card-based. I like the Tempest of War random primary and secondary missions. It's much better than spending 10 minutes at the start of the game where you talk through with your opponent. Okay, how many tanks have you got? Should I take the tank destroying secondary? Okay, how many characters have you got? Should I take assassination? Some tournaments, for speed, made you pick your secondaries before you get to the event to save this time. Here's another gripe. The deployment zones will always be the short board edges. You know that way that people didn't much like to play in favour of deploying on the long board edges like a sensible person? Too bad! Your battles are now in a long corridor. Will we still be able to manoeuvre around the board easily and avoid scary enemy units? Perhaps not. I'm just hoping that the line in the article is error and shouldn't be there. It has a comma followed by a capital I, so maybe, hopefully, that line shouldn't be there. There was another typo in the article where they had Strike Force Incursion the wrong way around. That's since been edited. So maybe it's all an error, but that name swap has been corrected, others haven't, and it's been a day now. There is a clearly poorly written part later on, which can longer score. Surely should be, you no longer score the primary objective. This may just be an article that needs a proofread fast. We live in hope. The article later on mentioned deployment cards which show you where to deploy, so it could be a very oddly specific mistype, but these deployment cards could just be referring to where the objectives go. The current Tempest of War has random deployment cards too, so fingers crossed that we aren't always deploying on the short edge. Mission cards. Primary missions are simple and similar to the last edition, so not much worth talking about here. The secondary missions though, these are a mix of the current fixed secondaries that you choose, usually for tournaments and other competitive games, and the more fun bias, and the Tempest of War random cards. So you can choose 2 missions before the battle starts, so still some talking through with your opponent, but only 2 secondaries. Alternatively, you can randomly generate them, and you have to complete it to get a new secondary. There are positives and negatives to both. For the fixed style, if you add assassination, you can't score anymore after killing the opposing characters. But if you went for the random draw, then you may get hard missions that you can't get through to score more points, and bad luck matters more with the draw. These ways of playing don't have to be the same for both of you. One of you could choose the random madness go, and the other could have the calculated 2-pick secondaries. If you can't tell, I fall into the random madness go category. There are secondary mission decks for attacker and defender. Now I think this is just a way of colour coding the decks. Tempest of War deck has red and grey cards for each player. This is probably the same in red and green, rather than having distinct secondaries available for each player depending on who rolls attacker and who rolls defender. Last of all are gambits. The wording is that this set comes with 3, so expect more sets of cards to come out for a price. These will let you swap the primary mission for something else, especially if the game is not going so well. One of these 3 is discarded before you get a choice, and one additional one on top of these 3 is a bluff that you were even going for a gambit in the first place. Decide among yourselves in the comments if gambits are too strange, not worth it, just let the winner keep winning, or are too powerful. This is one part I may talk more about in my livestream tomorrow. I'll be talking about the released information that came out this morning, and you can also get to know me as a person, if you care about that sort of thing. Overall, these changes do not seem to be good developments from an accessibility point of view. You need even more space, you need to buy a set of cards to play the game. How we roll with this, we shall have to see. Great games of 40k, my darlings and viewers, I hope to speak to you again.